Hey, Max here. So, a lot of people I've seen in the community saying generational patch today. We're going to go through, find out, test it. I've read through the notes. I have not tested it in game yet. Of course, testing will commence not only today, but over the next, weeks, months, whatever, and as they keep evolving the game. But I got to give them shout outs for at least what looks like knocking out a lot of the community's top asked for requests. Like, so often do they change things. You're like, who asked for this? But these were clear and present dangers to our fun levels in Madden. So let's get into it right away. Okay, box call. Now, the biggest thing around box call is we've had this in Madden before, and then they removed it in the game for 4 years. So I like that. I'm not going to get too negative off the bat. I like that it's in Madden 25. We'll test it out. I'll show you. But I'm a little worried that we're going to have it for 1 year and then it's going to go away again. Okay, so generally the box check is, so on Z spot, you see how there's a corner out there? We're going to go ahead and nickel cover 4 quarters. So in match systems, quarters, palms, what should happen is the outside corner will take number 1 deep, which will be the outside corner route, right? Because it's replacing, they're switching, and that should happen. So let's go ahead and see what does, and looks like it does, right? For so many years, that just didn't work that way, right? Because the safety takes 2 deep, the number 1 takes 1 deep. Now, I'm sure there'll be a way of exploiting match coverage. Madden players are going to put in thousands of hours trying to test it and find it. So their bunch still works since bunch has been the meta. But do you see how generally in match prior to this patch, so do you see how number 9 is going in the corner and number 84 is going straight? You're like, oh, they switched. That makes sense. So oftentimes prior to this patch in match year, 23 would take the streak route. So he'd go to him. He'd check out Watson, and then we'd have number 3 right there try and go for the corner. So, obvious, simple change. They finally switched it to be more realistic, so that way, there's better leverage respected on simple sale concept pattern type deals, okay? So that is changed. And we'll see, of course. I'm not going to lab up and try and do an immediate beater, but I would assume you're going to see happen in order to fight this, people in bunch, because they're gonna love bunch, they're gonna go ahead and switch to bunch strong type stuff, and 4 strong turns off match coverage, so it's gonna go back to a more zone drop formation. So I expect to see many more people switch over to bunch strong. We saw a lot of bunch strong in the meta already, so that, because match is turned off, it turns off that switching abilities, and they just straight up zone drop super far back, right? They just go to their spot and kind of sit and wait for the ball to be delivered. So there's a lot more room there, obvious spots for completion. So you're gonna have to end up, if you go against bunch strong, 4 strong formations, you're gonna have to adjust right here with whether it's zone drops or man up or different type of defenses. But just be aware that match only works against traditional formations, non 4 strongs. Okay, so big W. That's how it should be. We'll see how it plays out. Everybody always calls for the death of gun bunch, and then the gun bunch just stays meta. So we'll see how it warps over the coming weeks. Fix an issue causing deep zone defenders react inappropriately to pump fakes, leaving receivers open deep. So for those that have played online in the last week or two, what was happening was basically, if you pump fake late, you're able to get this guy. So like you go boom, and then boom, stop it again. Now they just throw it, so you can't pump fake deep. Now that's another issue with match. Match, for some reason, 1v1 sometimes just gets run past, and this DB didn't want to react to the ball. I don't know. Anyways, click on and hit square. So that's something that's happening. You can no longer, all right, there, that time they made the play. You can no longer pump flake late into the animation, so that also got patched. That's a major W, because that was awful trying to play zone coverage online with that. Deep third hot route to defend the right. Okay, so this was in like big nickel, It's been an issue for a little bit too, so I'm glad that they fixed that issue because I've been running a little bit of big nickel myself, running into it and getting angry about it. So W patch on that, W changed. Press animations to press the receiver too far up the field. Now, I don't know if they mean manual press animations or just like press animations in, say, let's just do like hitch seams against like press man like is the meta because so much else doesn't work. What am I in, dude? I don't even know. Let's go to cover two. Let's do cover two man. So look at like Kelsey, Smith, Schuster. Although Kelsey's a tight end, they have special rules, but they don't. So do you see how? So like over 5 yards is defensive holding, and that shouldn't happen. So defensive holding was happening like crazy. Especially you can really do it well with your user. So right here, it looks like the animation plays out to about. So in the 30, the animation plays out to about like the 22, and before he runs free. But like that's kind of realistic, I guess. The press doesn't really happen because like you can hit a guy under 5 yards in the NFL. That's fine. Over that is the problem. So looks like Kelsey beat his man pretty spectacularly over there because that's Travis Kelsey and this is Boo Boo Smith-Schuster. And I don't know. We'll see how it plays, especially user pressing going forward because user pressing was an insanely effective tool to deal with a lot of route concepts. Tuning to improve outside deep zone defender positioning, cushioning, and leverage versus corner routes. Now, you guys know over the years my frustration with like uncleared out corners. So being able to like streak corner routes, yeah, that should get open against zone coverage like we saw earlier. But for example, let's try this China post rail against cover 3 sky zone. Now, we'll see how the leverage plays out to Watson, okay? We'll see this Watson. And I feel like that played it pretty well. Now, obviously, he got bumped down the field a little bit, slowed up the route. We'll watch it one more time before we get an instant replay. I think that plays it okay. Let me try and throw it this time because you see how he respects leverage. I don't know, like, this might not be, like, there are good corner routes and there are bad corner routes. In this tradition, this kind of looks like a bad corner route. But he does play it kind of outside to the leverage, which should happen. It should happen this way. Let's try. Let me switch formations. Let me go to. Can I go? Is there a trips tight end? Gun tight open might have something. Try gun tight open corner routes. Now let's watch Smith, Schuster, and Kelsey. See what happens there. Can I throw this? See, like that's close enough for me because you could conceivably click on and make this play. All right, so I know I'm not near hash marks generally a little better. Like the issue becomes when like this guy is like maybe a few steps backwards, and then it's easy to easily compete these things. But when they're actually here, okay, we'll see. But my concern with this is that like I don't know if it's as much positioning. Nah, that's pretty. I mean, he's got outside leverage. Yeah, I'm okay with how he played that. I am. We'll see how other corner routes are able to take advantage of that. But small testing, okay. We'll see how it does in live testing, though. Switch stick delay from saving correctly. Okay. Passing and catching. Tuning reduced the passing accuracy. Okay, so high points were insanely overpowered. They could just throw at your user without a problem. Now, I got Patty Mahomes, which, best quarterback in the game, so maybe he won't have as much problem as other ones, but that was still greened. We'll test it over and over. Maybe we'll do like streak routes. Throw this one to Smith-Schuster here. Zones are playing really well. I'm greening it. I'm not getting inaccuracies here. That was yellow. We still caught it, right? Like that's the issue with high points, right? I threw it into traffic and still came down with it. I know it's a generational tight end against. Is that Buda Baker out there? I don't know. But like this is the issue that's always been with high points. Like defenders aren't reacting; they're just getting dumped on. Like he should actually like try and go for a swat. Like the CPU not triggered animation. Now you can argue click on and make the swat, but like the click on is often wonky. They'll get you on a 23, and your player will still get dunked on. So click ons are still less than ideal. At least yesterday they were. Maybe the patch changed and they didn't note it. Like, but I'm not sure that happened. So, to be determined with high points. To be determined. We'll see if they still bail people out. It's an extremely effective mechanic, especially near the end zone, being able to get those wonky animations for touchdowns. Revamp passing meter to show red on a dead eye. Decrease pack accuracy of mid-tier quarterbacks based off their ratings. I don't love in a competitive game. In a simulation, okay, that's awesome. In a competitive mode, not sure I like that. Linebackers appear to float in the air too long on jumping interceptions. I hope they like. I don't know. I never had a problem if linebackers jump up and make interceptions. I'm more towards the side of accepting that right now than not accepting it because of what we literally just saw, in the fact that like guys just don't trigger animations too often. I don't know. Ideally, you want the perfect balance, and EA's tweaking it, and they haven't quite tuned in Tokyo quite yet. Fix an issue causing ball carriers to hold the ball in the wrong hand to make a lunging catch. I've never had an issue with that. So here's a lot of pre-snap adjustment issues. Okay, so you guys know I got angry previously. Slant inside to put multiple rushers through the same gaps. Now, my issue, and I think EA did a really good job here, because a lot of people don't know that much about Madden and like, you know, D-line technique and blitzing angles and stuff like that. Like, the best blitz was slant over the inside, have like 4 guys go to 2 gaps or whatever. And like in real life, if 4 guys go to 2 gaps, they fall down. And if you put that on the field in Madden, that's what should happen. The problem is there's a lot of people that don't know this and they don't understand it. So when they're making D-line adjustments, blitz adjustments, they'll have that happen, and then they'll get pissed at the game for making their players fall down. Like, look at this terrible product. That kind of stuff. So, like, while we know, like, most of us, you know, if you're watching this video, you know if 2 guys in defense running into each other in the offense line, they're probably going to fall down. Casuals don't. So, Madden making it so that way blitzes and players respect like, they don't go to the same gap, I think is important. Because in the NFL, you won't have defensive coordinators have players play 2 guys to 1 gap. They'll have 1 player play 2 gaps, right? A classic 3-4 defense. But they won't do the reverse because, you know, you're leaving gaps uncovered. You're going to have guys tripping over each other. It's just bad defense. So Madden forcing players to play better gap integrity, I think is, you know, that's something I'm willing to do versus punishing them for bad defense. Not allowing them to put out that bad, inaccurate style of football out there. So I actually like this fix. If it stays where you have to maintain gap integrity and you can't put 2 guys to 1 hole, I'm sure Madden players will find exploits, of course. 2nd level blitzes, 3rd level blitzes, that kind of stuff. Although 3rd level blitzes, depending on how deep you come from, just are a little bit slow overall anyways. Versus the reads that are being made. Global tuning D-line shifts on A-gap adjustment to unrealistic alignments leading to exploit blitzes. Pre-snap. So the double A-gap got patched. I guess I can show you. I don't think I have double A-gap in this defense, but just take my word for it. Double A got patched. Hopefully you guys do. D-line pinch assignments location nickel wide. So like the backup double A gap got patched. The nickel wide was that savior. Causing motion receiver to run another player in gun bunch wide nasty cheat spot and cheat inside zone. Cheat motions are very effective, especially against guys who don't know how to switch stick. Switch stick basically takes a lot of that cheat motion stuff away, and all is giving me a lot of easy interceptions here. But I'm sure, you know, people like work around because, you know, they're gun bunch fiends. Settings in UI. So the online exploit where it was faster to pick a play, get the line of scrimmage, then call hurry up, looks to be patched. Controllers still vibrate, preventing indicators from updating after subbing players, yada, yada, yada. Pass block targeting lines sometimes not appear when entering pass block adjustment menu, big W. So a lot of this stuff does look to be awesome. Changes. You can now call, I remember they added custom playbooks back into online head-to-head. Not in MUT, of course, but just regular online head-to-head. Yeah, so they changed more to slant defense inside. They're changing and they're updating a little bit of the hit stick tackles. I don't know. I you guys know my feeling. The boom The boom changes this year, I feel like were a waste of time for them. There's been way too much wonkiness added to the system, and like it doesn't feel like anybody asked for it. All we asked for like more fumbles, not for you to overhaul the hitting system. But now we got like diving tackles that can Superman a guy, like slip and slide across the field and still take him down. It's pretty bad. Franchise mode, they fixed a lot of bugs and stuff. Nothing like crazy updates, but I know a lot of good stuff is in there for people. Art, they've added a lot of new face masks, gloves, cleats, or not face masks, but faces. There is bug fixes, captain's patches, flak jacket, audio. I got the audio stuff off. I don't listen to Madden audio. Generally listening to, if I'm playing the game and I'm not streaming, I'm listening to either music or podcasts or stuff like that. So that doesn't really bother me too much. So that's the patch. Let me know what you guys think. So far, like what they said, awesome. Obviously, there's still things to be fixed. There's always things to be fixed. No product is perfect. Run blocking logic, both wide receiver and offensive line. One thing I want to see play out is like misaligned deep quarters. If you can press and misalign them still and get and stop streaks, we'll see that online. The 3-man pass rush splitting double teams still is insane, especially with like a user blitzed in the box. They still get a lot of good sheds, sadly. That exploits, and then like drop picks on competitive mode. But like these things are things that I want to kind of see play out just in online head-to-head more so than testing them. I guess a good test on the misaligned deep quarters, but we'll do that on stream here in a bit. Bye.